So, who owns the code that makes you, well, you? It's a simple question, but the answer is anything but. Today, we're going to dive into the story of genomic databases and how the race to map our DNA kicked off this huge battle over who gets to control our most basic biological information. Get this, for a while there, this was a real thing. Private companies actually held legally binding patents on human genes. I know, it sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, which, of course, leads to one big question. To figure that out, we've got to rewind the clock, back to the dawn of the genomic revolution, a time when pure scientific discovery just slammed right into the world of intellectual property. All right, let's get into it. Our story really starts here. This is the moment when the very building blocks of life, our own genetic code, suddenly became something that you could legally own, and more importantly, something you could lock away from everyone else. So you've got scientists in this global race to map the human genome for the public good, right? But at the same time, there was this other, quieter race happening in patent offices. Every single time a new important gene was discovered, like the BRCA genes, companies would rush to file for ownership. And this one move completely changed the game. What were supposed to be open scientific databases, well, they turned into legal minefields. And here's the real irony. The whole point of these databases was to speed up discovery. They were built so scientists everywhere could share what they found and build on each other's work. They were supposed to be information superhighways, not a bunch of private roads with toll booths. Okay, so what actually happens when you lock up this kind of vital information? This wasn't just some debate for academics in an ivory tower. No, this had a huge impact on researchers, on doctors, and most importantly, on patients. And this wasn't a small problem. We're talking about thousands of patents filed on human genes. Innovation just ground to a halt because researchers couldn't study certain genes or they were just plain scared of getting sued. It sparked this massive public fight. Should science be open for everyone, or can it be owned by a select few? And this number, this says it all. This is the human cost, right here. Because one company owned the patent on the BRCA genes, it meant they had a monopoly on the test. And they used it. They charged over $3,000, putting a potentially life-saving diagnosis totally out of reach for so many people. All of a sudden, this abstract legal fight got very, very personal. To really understand how we got into this mess, you have to look at the history of these databases. Their story really shows this fundamental clash of ideas about what science is even for. In the early days, genetic data was just stuck in different labs, completely cut off from each other. Then, in the mid-'80s, this amazing collaborative spirit took over, and we got these big public databases like GenBank. It was a golden age of sharing. But then, people realized how much money could be made. And by the late 90s, companies were building their own private walled-off databases, locking down the very information that was once shared freely. And this, right here, just lays it all out. It's a clash of two completely different worlds. On one side, you have the idea of open science. If we share data, we make discoveries faster and everybody benefits. On the other side, you've got proprietary rights. This information can be owned, access can be restricted, and it's all driven by profit. At its heart, the battle for genomic data was a battle between these two worldviews. Now, this conflict didn't just stay in the lab. It exploded, going all the way to the Supreme Court. This was the turning point. The legal system was finally going to have to answer a huge question. Can you own a piece of nature? And in 2013, the answer came back, and it was a loud and clear no. The court's wording was powerful. They basically said, look, just because you found a gene and isolated it, doesn't mean you invented it. It's a product of nature. It belongs to everyone. So here's the bottom line. That single decision instantly shattered the legal locks on thousands of genes. The monopolies, they vanished overnight. The cost of that BRCA test, it plummeted. And scientific databases were open for business again, letting researchers explore the human genome without having to look over their shoulder for a lawyer. So, with the code unlocked, this whole saga left us with some incredibly important lessons. Lessons about how we design and manage the databases that hold our most critical information. We learned that intellectual property, when it's used the wrong way, can literally block people from getting life-saving medical care. We learned that scientific progress absolutely depends on shared data. And maybe the biggest takeaway is that databases aren't just technical things. The way you design them is loaded with political and ethical choices. Making sure everyone has a fair shot at good health, that's a database design challenge. Which brings us right back to the question we're still grappling with today. The legal patents on our genes might be gone, but as technology gets more and more powerful, the debate over access, privacy, and control is just getting more intense. So I'll leave you with this to think about. Who should control the code of life?